Hello everybody and welcome back. In this video we're going to install the Android SDK Tools for use with the Eclipse environment. So what you're looking at is the download page, so go ahead and go to this URL in Firefox, and it is at developer.android.com/SDK/index.html, or do a Google search and find the Android SDK website. And you'll see at the top here, you'll see a bunch of menu items up here. You want to go into click on the Download Developer Tools, the Download section, and you'll get the Android SDK. And then there's some options for you. So if you didn't follow my first two videos and you are just installing this from scratch, you can download the entire bundle, which is going to come with an Eclipse and the ADT plugin and all of the other things and the tools and the platforms and all that other stuff. Or you can do it the manual way, which is how I've been doing it, which is going to install a few less items. It's going to take a little bit less room on your hard drive, which is kind of the minimalist way of doing it, which is kind of the approach I've been taking. So in your on your screen, you should see use an existing IDE or system requirements or download for other platforms. If you could just click on download for other platforms, we just want the basic SDK. So if you kind of if you go down here, and we don't want the ADT plugin, we don't need that. SDK Tools only. So for Windows, this is the file here that we want. So go ahead and click on this file here, or we can do the installer. I'm just going to click on it because what we're going to do is take and download this zipped directory and unzip it and just put it into the program file subdirectory along with everything else. And then we're going to tell Eclipse to go link to it. So download the Android SDK for Windows here, and it'll have you, I'll show you this here, and go ahead and click OK. And we're going to go ahead and download it. And it says it's going to take 5 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and then come back when the download is finished. Okay, our download is now complete, and I'm looking at the completed Android SDK in here. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my downloads here. It looks like I've got an accumulation of stuff going on here now. And I'm going to click on the Android SDK, and actually I'll right mouse click on it. And I will go ahead and extract all, and I will stick it, same directory actually, I'll just stick it right in here. And hopefully I won't get any errors while extracting all of this. That's not too bad. What I'm going to do is rename the directory to Android and copy it into my program files subdirectory. And any minute now it should complete. I will go ahead and pause the video until it is complete. Okay, the download, the extraction completed, and now the Android SDK is unzipped. And I'm going to go ahead and right mouse click on it and rename it, and I'm just going to call it Android. And then I'm going to move it, so I'm going to open up my C directory, go to Program Files. Actually, I'm going to put it in Program Files. So I'm going to go ahead and drag it from the downloads and put it into the Program Files. Now if I open it up, I see I have SDK Manager and AVD Manager and everything else that is supposed to belong to it. So now what I've done is I've installed the Android SDK. So now back in Eclipse, I need to install the plugin so that Eclipse will work with this SDK. So I'm going to close this window here, and close this window here, and close this one here as well. And then I go into Eclipse, and I actually have Eclipse open here. So I've got Eclipse out here. I'm going into the help directory. Go ahead and check for updates. Make sure your Eclipse is up to date. It's always best to do that occasionally. This shouldn't take too long. We just installed it, or I just installed it less than an hour ago, so I'm hoping it's going to be up to date. But we'll see. It appears to be up to date. No updates are available. That's good. So now what I'm going to do is go back into the help menu, and now I'm going to go into the install new software because I need to install the plugins for use with Android. So up here where it says work with, and it says type or select a site, I'm going to paste in what I had already I just cut it a few minutes ago on my notes, and I pasted it in here. And this is the site we want to go to. It's a dl.ssl.google.com/android/ Eclipse because we need to Eclipse browser plugins for Android. So go ahead and click on where it says Development Tools and also SDK Plugins. Let's get it all. And then click on Next on the bottom. If you don't see this in the window, there's either something wrong with your internet connection or this is wrong up here. So go ahead and type this in. This is the https://dl-ssl.google.com Android Eclipse. That's just the open repository website that can be used. And so go ahead and select these two. Click on Next, and then it's going to calculate the requirements and the dependencies and things. And it's going to go ahead and highlight a bunch of stuff here. And we can select it all, which we've done. And it says the operation can be complete. Cannot complete the rest. See the error log for details. And what is the error log? It's already installed. Okay, so I already have this installed on my computer, and I installed it in a previous step that I had taken before I created the video. You're not going to. You're going to end up having to click on Next and click on Finished, and it's going to go through and install for you. And there's going to be a prompt that's going to say, would you like to reboot your computer? Restart Eclipse when it's all finished. And that's the option you're going to take. So if you go through and hit on Next on yours, and it goes through and installs it for you, I'm going to go ahead and click Cancel because mine's already installed. And then I'm going to restart my Eclipse so you can see what happens when you go through the process. This is automatically going to trigger a couple of things that are going to pop up when I restart Eclipse. So go ahead, after you've downloaded your plugins, follow the prompts, restart Eclipse, and then you're going to get this. This is a little message that comes up. It says the location of the Android SDK has not been set. So we can open up the preferences here, and what we're looking for is that directory that we set. So I'm going to go ahead and click Browse, and then I'm going to click on my computer, and I'm going to click on the C drive and the program files, and here it is, Android. So Android is actually the directory where we installed the SDK. And so I'm going to click on Apply, and it's going to say the SDK Tools component is missing. Please use the SDK Manager to install it. Okay, so I'm going to click Open SDK Manager. Now that's because we downloaded the foundation and we installed it in the Androids, but all of the individual SDKs are missing. And so the SDK Manager pops up, which is a really good sign because now we're seeing that not only does the plugin work inside of Eclipse, but also it recognizes that we have the SDK installed, but we don't have any of the tool sets installed. So now what I'm going to do is click on here where it says Tools, and then I'm going to select the Android 4.2, which is as the making of this video, is the latest and greatest API. And I'm also going to come down here, and I like the 2.3 and the 2.2, so I'm going to click on these guys too. Because I have a need to use those sometimes. I'm also going to click on a 4.0 because that's a good stable release as well. So go ahead and select the APIs that you think you might want to use, and then over here on the right hand side it's going to say install 19 packages. Well, those are all the packages that I just selected, so I'm going to go ahead and click on install packages, and then I'm going to select accept here, and then I'm going to click on install, and you'll see it right here. It's going to go through and install a bunch of stuff. This is going to take probably, depending upon what you clicked on, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, maybe longer. This bar is going to go for every one. See, it seems like it's going pretty fast right now, but it's only doing one. It's doing each one of these items individually. So what I'm going to do is pause the video while this is working and then resume once it has been completed. As you can see, my download is still running. This one might take about an hour. If you selected Accept 1 when we first started like I did, I had to go back in and say Select All or Accept All. And I see Install. If it says Install 18 packages here, it still means that it's still running. So as you can see, the progress is taking place, but it's kind of on the slow side. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video again. And don't be surprised if this takes an hour to an hour and a half or so to install. I'm just giving you a little bit of warning on that. Okay, so back on pause. Okay, I'm back, and so it has the download. The download is back and it has finished, and so now you can see it says done loading packages, and now it says installed packages. It's empty, deleting one package. I'm just gonna leave that one alone. I'm not quite sure what that is. But we are done installing the SDKs and all of the separate packages. So if I go ahead and close this window, I can now do a simple test to see if I have everything installed correctly. So if I open up the window here, the window drop-down menu, you should see Android SDK Manager, which is where we were just at a few minutes ago. So if I open that back up again, you'll see that window we were on a few minutes ago. Any moment now. Here it comes. And then I can select to delete or install more packages, and it will go ahead and automatically update through the repository automatically, so it'll tell me if there's anything new, stuff like that. So nothing new has changed since I was there a few minutes ago. So I'm going to close the window. The other window that you'll see is going to be the Android Virtual Device Manager, which will come up and allow you to create AVDs, and we'll do that in another video. And then what you have is to run some of the other things, to set the preferences. And if you remember the preferences, this is where we set the SDK location for where we downloaded and we put in the Android SDK. That was in the program files, if you remember. Okay, and then on the help menu, there's nothing has changed here. So what you also have is the ability now to create an automatic project for Android. So if you click on the File menu and you go into New, what you'll see down here is an Others category on the bottom of your screen. In the old days, it used to actually put up here Android project. It doesn't do that anymore. So down here on the bottom where it says Other, click on Other and then open up Android, and you'll see you can create an Android application project, an activity. Select the application project, and if you click on Next, it'll go ahead and through a series of prompts where you can select the minimum, the maximum, the target SDK that you want to work with. And fill it out, and essentially run through a template to create an Android application. And the trick is, and what I really wanted to show you, was the fact that if you have to go into Other down here, you should see Android. You should see an entire directory for Android. If you don't see this, it means something is wrong with your install. But this is how you create an Android project. If you're just going to create a Java project, then you would use File, New, Java Project. Or project in general. So Eclipse does support multiple languages, multiple different types of projects, but it's the Android project that you're primarily interested in creating, this one right here, if we're going to go ahead and build Android apps. Alright, there's also Android sample projects you can go into as well, which will give you the ability to run any of the samples that you'd normally have to download from the developer at .android.com. So for example, if we click on Next here, we can see there's a bunch of samples in here, Bluetooth, chat, a contact manager, a bunch of stuff that we can create, and I just kind of clicked on one to show you what this looks like. And then ignore these messages down here on the bottom for right now, but what we're going to see over here is the basic project that gets opened up. That's going to show us essentially everything that we are going to be working at in terms of this particular example, if we were to take a look at this program here. So essentially our install is complete at this point, and so now we can proceed to the next video, which is going to be a Hello World tutorial on how to build your first Android project. But right now our install is complete. I think I clicked too many times, which is why my screen was freezing a few minutes ago. But go ahead and get familiar with the IDE and play around with it, use some of the samples. If you want. If you run it, you're going to need to create an AVD when you run it. Otherwise, you're going to get this error here. It's going to come up and say, well, let's say run as an Android application. Okay. And it's going to basically want you to install or create an AVD, which is going to be a virtual device or an emulator, which I will show you how to do in another video. But in any case, now you have the Android tools installed, and so you should be armed and dangerous and ready to go with Java programming and Android development. So hopefully everything went well for you. You can see on the bottom here it says, please ensure that the AVD is correctly located. Well, we don't have one, which is why this didn't run. So in the Hello World program, I will show you how to create an AVD and how to run a Java project. But this is the end of this particular video. and I hope you have your tools installed. Thank you.